So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about feminine energy, I think about receiving, being receptive, being open. A lot of women nowadays are moving out of an energy of having to give and give and give and chase and chase and chase, and are starting to understand that to better suit me as a feminine, as a woman, what would better suit me is to be in my receptive energy, in my receiving mode. That is a part of feminine energy, is to receive. It just feels like when you're in your receiving mode as a feminine, it just feels like you're attracting, okay? Y'all know the saying, I don't chase, I attract. You're in excuse me. You are in attraction mode. You are attracting. So that's basically what receiving is. You're attracting anything that you want. It doesn't matter. You could be attracting a degree. You could be attracting a certain type of spouse. You could be attracting children. You could be attracting a new home, a new car, a new book, like whatever. It just means that you are in an energy of like, there's nothing I cannot have. I don't care what it is. I can have it. It's already mine. If I desire it, it will come to me. I don't have to lift a finger. It's on its way to me now. I'm just in the mode of just receiving, just attracting everything I want. Life is beautiful. La 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 la. Okay, that's like the first thing that comes to my mind with feminine energy. Okay, so you need to figure out how you're going to put yourself in receptive mode. And I would say the best way to do that would be to use affirmations. Affirmations really, really work. The tongue is powerful. The mind is powerful. I always tell you guys that thoughts are electric and feelings are magnetic. So what you think, therefore you are, and what you feel, you are attracting to you at a very rapid pace. And if you combine those two things together, you're manifesting, period. Okay? If you are not in that energy of being open and receptive, you have to basically reprogram your brain. Okay? You have to reprogram your brain to think different thoughts. Okay? So if you're thinking thoughts to yourself, I'm not worthy of anything, you need to switch that thought to, I am worthy of anything that I want. I can have anything that I desire. Do that because it works over time. It's not something that's just gonna boom, click, and all of a sudden your brain is completely reprogrammed. A lot of y'all have years and years and years of trauma. I'm talking like 5, 10, 20 years of trauma that has to be reprogrammed, and that's going to take time. Is it going to take you 20 years? No, it's actually not. You can literally reprogram your mind in probably like 90 days or less. It just depends on what work you do and everything in your environment itself. So find affirmations on the internet. You can literally go on Pinterest. You have to tell yourself that you are worthy of receiving all these things that you want, and stop doubting it. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. It doesn't matter if somebody told you that you cannot have it. Please understand, you have the ability to manipulate and shift your entire world. I tell y'all, God is a creator, but we are many creators. And he did not give us the power that he gave us just so we can sit around and wait on him all day, okay? I'm not religious, but this is just something I've understood about my own life. A lot of times God will sit there and watch you until you figure out what he's trying to tell you to do. He's not going to step in. He's not going to do the work for you. He's not going to hold your hand all the time. At least that's been my relationship with God. Everyone's relationship is different, but I can speak from my relationship with God. He does not hold my hand through life all the time. He sits back and waits for me to figure it out, because just like I give you all the analogy when it comes to basketball, the coach is not out there shooting for the players. The coach is not going to, he can't make you do the work. He can't make you go to the gym. He can't make you run those miles. He can't make you lift those weights. He can't make you practice. Technically, he cannot. So, and he's not going to do it for you. He's not physically doing it for you. So if God is the coach and you are the player, you get yourself out there and do it, okay? You have to reprogram your mind. You have to do that. You can go to God and ask him for guidance and ask him for help and clarity and all these things. He will provide it to you, but you have to do your part. So ladies, that is the first thing I would tell you. Get into receptive mode, okay? So the next thing that comes to mind with feminine energy, of course, is creativity. Feminine energy is creation. Just like there are women in this world who are able to give life and give birth and create an entire being in our bodies for 9 months, That is creation itself. It doesn't get any more creative than that. Taking a soul and a consciousness, harboring it in your body for 9 months, and your body literally creating an entire person that comes out of your body. That is amazing, okay? So that's creation in itself. With that being said, not every woman has the capabilities of creating life because of medical issues, or some women don't want to have babies. They don't want to have children, which is completely normal and fine. So outside of that type of creation that God gave us the power to do, you also, every person on this planet, whether you're feminine or masculine, you have a creative ability. So when I'm speaking to the feminine collective, you need to figure out where your creativity lies. Are you a painter? Are you a singer? Are you a writer? Do you like to do sculptures? Do you like to design websites? Are you really into fashion? Like what is something about you that you enjoy doing, that you're really good at, that makes you feel really good about yourself, and you cannot go too many days without doing it, and it makes you feel extremely creative and it's fun, okay? It's not necessarily something that you do for work. It could be, and shout out to you if you found a way to make an income off your creative abilities. Shout out to you, okay? Because that's not easy for everybody, but figure that out. Even if it's not something you're good at, you don't have to be amazing at it. Just find a hobby. You need to find some type of hobby that you can do that's fun for you. Even if you're a terrible painter, go paint. Take a painting class. If you're a terrible cook, go take a cooking class. Whatever. Find something that you can do that you'll love and enjoy, that unlocks that creativity within you, okay? Knitting, sewing, like there's so many different things. You just gotta find your thing, and I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not gonna go too much in on that. Figure that out, okay? That's number 2. So the next thing that I would say when it comes to increasing your feminine power, I would say it's really, really important for us to move our hips, okay? And just like move our bodies, like dancing. Dancing is really important, but even if you don't dance, literally just move your hips. Like sometimes I'm just in my bed or I'm just at home and I'm just like, just moving my hips and just for no reason. I don't know why I do it. I just do and I enjoy it. But women, people in general, but feminines typically store a lot of trauma in our hips, and you need to be moving. I don't care how old you are. You need to be moving those hips, honey. You need to be moving those hips. You need to be stretching. You need to be moving your body, period. Because you, 1, need to be releasing that energy. And 2, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose that part of you that's, you don't want to be stiff, basically. You don't want to be no stiff woman. Like you want to be like free flowing and like, it just makes you feel confident and powerful and sexy if you can just move your body, move your hips. I know not everybody can do that. Everybody has different medical issues. So if you have a medical issue that keeps you from moving your hips, obviously I'm not talking about you, and you have to find another way to move your body, okay? So unless you are completely disabled from the neck down, you have a way that you can move your body, all right? So figure out how you're going to do that. Take a dancing class. You don't want to take a dancing class, go to the gym, do Pilates, whatever it is that you can do to promote exercise and movement, do that. Go swimming, whatever it is, something that gets you moving. But literally move your hips, ladies. Move them. Just move them. You may feel weird at first. Do it anyway. The next thing I would say when it comes to increasing your feminine power is putting yourself first, okay? So we have for a long time, and I feel like this was going on probably since like the 90s. I was born in 99. But if I can think back, and y'all can confirm this to me, y'all are probably going to say something different because I wasn't born at that time, so I don't really know. But if I had to guess, I would say there has been an imbalance of masculine and feminine energy around the 90s. That's just my guess. If you have a difference of opinion, comment it down below. There's been an imbalance, okay? And for a long time, women, feminines, have allowed these masculines to feel like they were the prize, okay? And because of that, there has been an imbalance. And not only that, we have lived in a very patriarchal society for a very long time. And as you can see, that has not benefited the collective in any way, with all the war and destruction and violence and just stupidity that's going on in the world. All of that is because we are living in a society that has been ran by men, okay? And this is not to bash men. This is not to talk down on y'all. This is me stating a fact. Men are even starting to get upset about the way society is set up, but y'all created it, okay? I just want y'all to understand that. Men created this society. When society was being built a long time ago, women did not have a say-so in what the rules were, what the laws were, or any of that. We just had to sit down and raise the children and cook and clean. Y'all did this. So I just want to make that very clear. When y'all sitting around complaining about it, at one point y'all benefited off of it. Now y'all like, we don't benefit off of it anymore, and we're starting to see the harm. Some of y'all are. But that all kind of ties into women not wanting to put themselves first, because we moved into a time where women have options now and what we can do as far as career and love. Like a long time ago, there's a lot of things women were forced to do and told that they cannot do. I don't have to get into a whole history lesson. You should know what those things were. But when we moved into a time where women had options in life, and they weren't expected to have certain roles, things did change a lot. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that nowadays you see a lot more women who are like, they don't put themselves first. They put themselves last. And they were raised to put themselves last by all the generations that came before them, and even got to the point where they started chasing after masculine energy. You cannot call yourself a feminine if you are chasing, especially if you're chasing a masculine. That's not feminine energy. Feminine energies do not chase. Women are not supposed to be chasing anything. We're supposed to be receiving. And it doesn't mean that we cannot give, but our presence alone is very given to this world. By just showing up and being who we are, okay? And I feel like we got away from that. So as a woman, as a feminine, think about the ways in your life that you are not putting yourself first and the ways that you are putting yourself first. How are you putting yourself first right now? If you can't think of too many ways that you put yourself first, that is going to be one of the number one things that you need to do, because a woman that puts herself last, she will be very drained at the end of the day, and will become someone who is very resentful and bitter. And a lot of us saw our own mothers go through that. Our mothers did not put themselves first. A lot of ours didn't. And they became very bitter and resentful, even to their own children, and to their spouses, and at life in general. You have to find ways to put yourself first, ladies. Like, you have to, even if you have children. And I know some of y'all are like, oh my God, being a mother is my whole personality. How am I going to put myself above my kids? And if you've been watching me for a while, I always say this. As a mother, you have to put yourself before your kids. And that does not mean that you neglect your children. It does not mean that you just leave them to fend for themselves. Like, we're going to use our common sense. We're not going to get in the comments trying to say I said something that I did not say. Use your common sense. Do not neglect your children. Do not leave them to fend for themselves. What I mean by that, you have to find a routine that works for you, and not have a routine that works around your children. A lot of mothers do not understand that because of how they were raised and how they were programmed. So for example, if you have a child, you need to make sure that you are getting up before that child, because you need those moments in the morning to yourself before you jump into mommy mode. Have those mornings where you sit outside on the porch, or you have your morning tea or your morning coffee or your morning meditation, or you just sit in complete silence. Whatever else that you need to do, you need to make sure that you can do that and be present and feel your own energy before you immediately jump into mommy mode. When you become a mother, your nervous system really changes, and it will never be the same, okay? So you have to find those moments where you are just whole within yourself and you're feeling like you instead of first thing in the morning when you pop your eyes open, you're just immediately jumping into mommy mode. You're going to drive yourself crazy over the next couple of years doing that, okay? So that's an example of what I mean by you have to put yourself first as a mother, okay? Not only that, make sure, like I said, all those other things that I mentioned, make sure that you have hobbies. Make sure you have things to do outside of being a mother. I know everybody's situation is different. Some of y'all have zero support, but even someone with zero support, as someone who has lived that life before, I may not currently be living that life, but there was a time in my life I did not have any support, and I still had to find a way to be me outside of being a mother, because if I didn't, my mental health was going to be extremely affected. And if my mental health is affected, I was not a good mother. You have to have your mental intact before you can tend to your child. Your child will love and appreciate you more if they see that your mental health was intact while you were raising them, versus it's not intact. You're yelling at them all the time. You're overstimulated all the time. Your nervous system is shot. You're angry. You're drinking, or whatever it is that you're trying to do to cope with raising this child. If you're doing all of those things, something is not right. There's an imbalance, and you need to figure out a way to fix that. Working on your mental health is putting yourself first in these situations. Find ways, healthy ways, to put yourself first and work on your mental health that does not affect your child and does not cause you to neglect them, okay? So another way, dress up. Like, get up early in the morning, do your hair, do your makeup, put on a cute outfit. If you're a stay-at-home mother, I know everybody's life is different. You got to figure out how to do it with your life, okay? I know a lot of y'all going to come in the comments with a million excuses why you can't do something because your life is not this. Figure it out, because at the end of the day, your children will love you more for it. And if you love your kids, you have to figure out a way to give them a better quality of life. And if you know anything about feminine energy and living in a home with a mother, the mother's energy affects everyone, okay? And sometimes that's not fair. So figure it out, okay? So do your hair, do your makeup, put on a cute outfit, buy yourself something nice. Stop telling yourself you can't buy this because you need to buy this for the baby. Figure out a way to buy what the baby needs if the baby needs it, and figure out a way to get what you need, okay? So put yourself first. For those of you who are not mothers, still put yourself first. Like, if you are in a relationship with somebody and you are making this person your entire world and you have completely neglected who you are as a woman, that's not putting yourself first. Try to detach from the person that you're with, okay? Detachment from people is very important, even the people that you're married to and in a relationship with. A lot of people don't understand that, but that takes a very intelligent being to understand that we don't own anybody, not even our partners and our spouses. So find a way to detach from this person so you're still your own person. You don't got to be in their face all the time. Go out and go do something. Take a vacation, take a trip, do something for you. Focus on you. Be a little bit more selfish, okay? Don't be Susie Homemaker. Don't do it, okay? It's not, by the time you 40, 50 years old, you're going to be so regretful that all you did was worry about your husband and your kids, or worry about your spouse, and you did not care about yourself, okay? Some of y'all have kids, some of y'all don't. Some of y'all kids are way, way older. Some of y'all's kids are really, really young. Some of y'all are married. Some of y'all are divorced. Some of y'all are single. I don't care what your situation is as a woman and as a feminine. If you want to increase your feminine power, put yourself first. Be a little bit selfish. Walk around like you're the queen, because you are, okay? The world itself is shifting in a lot of ways, but one of the ways the world is shifting is the feminine is reclaiming her power, period. You may not like that. You may disagree with that. It doesn't matter what you think or what you don't like. That is what's happening. So even the women who are not on board or are not prepared, they're going to be affected by it too. Whether you're a man or a woman or a dog or a cat, whatever you identify as, the world is shifting to where the feminine is reclaiming her power, which is why if you pay attention to what's going on in the world, there has been such an imbalance of masculine and feminine energy on so many different levels, practically and spiritually. Okay, the pendulum has swung the other way. Feminines are, we got it. The ball is in our court. A lot of women are getting to the point now where we understand, I don't have to be a wife and I don't have to be a mother. I can literally be happy in my solitude and peaceful by myself, because a lot of women are understanding, I'm happy alone. I'm happy without a man. I'm happy at peace. And to men, it's like, oh, no, she's not. They need us. They want us. They, whatever y'all be saying to convince yourselves that single women are unhappy, y'all be saying it. These single women are not unhappy. The people who are unhappy a lot of times are these married women and these women in relationships, or these women with kids, just being for real. Those a lot of times are the women who are unhappy because they were sold a lifestyle that they didn't understand what came with it. So as much as y'all want to say that women right now are going to be sad and alone and miserable, it's the complete opposite. It's going to be the men. If y'all don't get yourselves together, y'all are going to be the ones who are going to be single and unhappy. The women are going to be single and thriving, because women typically live longer without a man and without kids. And women are like, oh, when I was coming up, I just thought I was supposed to have kids. I just thought I was supposed to get married. Now women are like, I don't have to do any of that. I could be the single rich auntie and I can live my best life, okay? Now, me personally, I want children. I know I was made to be a mother. I'm probably going to have like at least 4 kids by the time I'm 35, okay? I want children. I want family. So although I want that, I'm still proud, and I still recognize the women who don't want that. I'm proud of the women who are saying, I don't want children and I don't have to have them. I don't have to, and my life is not going to be miserable. I'm not going to feel like I didn't accomplish anything if I didn't. I'll be happy with my cat or my dog or just me and my partner. Like, I'm proud of those women who are doing that, because a lot of women are not meant to be mothers. A lot of women would not be good mothers and they're understanding that. And a lot of women are just like, I don't have to do that. But coming up, generations and generations before us were told that's just something, that's like a rite of passage as a woman. You're just supposed to have kids. You're supposed to get married. So I'm saying all this to say, putting yourself first. You're not neglecting yourself. You're focusing on you. You're not worried too much about everything outside of that. And because you're pouring more into yourself, you have enough to pour into everybody else. Who is important to you and you love, if you have children or a spouse, or you have a creative hobby or a job or whatever. If you're pouring all these things into your job, into your kids, into your significant other, into everything else, and you're putting yourself last, your cup is dry. You don't have anything. You really have to pour into you. Give it all to you first, because you're going to literally thrive as a woman, and anybody else in your life is going to see that. They're going to support that. If they don't, they can get lost. But the ones that do support it, you can pour back into them, okay? The next thing I would say would be extremely beneficial to reclaiming your feminine power would be to try celibacy. And it depends on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. Some of y'all are in relationships or you're married. I still don't feel like there's a problem within a relationship or marriage for y'all to just, spend some time where you're not swapping sexual energy constantly. Like, you can take a break from that, and that's okay. Y'all will really benefit off of that, especially if you haven't spent that much time being single. A lot of y'all jump into relationship after relationship after relationship, and you don't spend any time alone. That kind of goes into reclaiming your feminine power also. Like, isolation is extremely important, and it doesn't mean that you're just cold and cut the world off. It just means, as a woman, we are typically very empathic, and we are also highly intuitive naturally. Like, that's God-given. And if you are constantly surrounded by different energies, you're not sitting with yourself. You need to sit with yourself so you can hear your inner voice, but also hear God. If you're always constantly out and surrounded by all these different people and you're never alone, how are you hearing yourself? How are you trusting your intuition? How are you knowing who you really are as a woman? So that goes also into sexual energy. Trying celibacy for however long you want to do it. There's no set time. No, I don't believe that you have to be that you can't have sex until you found your person. I feel it's a personal choice that you personally need to make with God. That doesn't have anything to do with anybody else, and no, it is not a requirement, okay? You just need to figure out whatever promise you're going to make to yourself, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year, whatever you're going to do it as long as you possibly can, and see how your life changes. Because mixing energy like that with somebody, like sexual energy is very powerful. I just want to say that. And mixing energy with another person, you have to be very careful, because you are mixing energy with that person, and anybody else that they are mixing with while they're mixing with you, God forbid, but you know how it is out here. And when you do go on a celibacy journey, it definitely changes your mind about sex itself. It changes how you feel about yourself, and it kind of it makes you understand that we live in a very, very lustful society, and sex is not that serious. Like, it's really not. And it's not something that should be taken lightly, okay? It's something that should be, at least in my opinion, everybody's opinion is different. If you want to go out here and be buck wild and do what you do what you do, boo, okay? But that's not the advice I'm going to give on my channel. I'm never going to tell anybody to do that, especially because I have some young girls who follow me. The best thing that you can do is to preserve your sexual energy, because a woman's sexual energy in itself is extremely powerful, and it's something that should be treated delicately, okay? I'll say that. So try it if you haven't already. If you are with somebody and they don't want to try it with you and they give you a hard time, to me personally, that's a red flag, because one, it's not that deep. I get that sex is a big part of a lot of relationships, but if you can't go 10 days with me or 30 days with me, and we are supposed to be locked in, you're supposed to be my person, that's a red flag. Again, it's not that deep, because why do you feel like you need to do that every single day? Maybe go to therapy and figure out what's going on with that, or look into your childhood and figure out why you need that all the time. One, and then two, this is my body. So I don't have to give you my body if I do not want to. And three, it can actually strengthen y'all's relationship and bring y'all closer together, okay? Because, or it could tear y'all apart. And I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm saying that because if your relationship is only based on sex, if y'all try celibacy together, it's gonna show. Because there's gonna be an issue. It's going to be some tension. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be, something's going to happen, okay? But if a relationship is not based on that, going celibate together will also show that, and will bring y'all really, really closer together. And then when y'all connect again, it's going to be amazing. So everyone's situation is different. If you're a single woman, I would definitely try celibacy. You will absolutely not regret it. But if you are in a relationship, talk to your partner and explain to them why it's important to you. And just give it a try. Try it in increments, okay? And see how it changes y'all's relationship, okay? So just to reiterate everything that I said, because I feel like this video is very long. We talked about putting yourself first. That is how you reclaim your power as a woman. Do not pour into everybody else. Be selfish. Put your crown back on. And get into that energy of like pouring into yourself, pouring into your beauty, pouring into your craft, pouring into your creativity. Find ways to put yourself first. If you are an avid people pleaser and you have some type of trauma surrounding that, that's going to be hard. But just because it's hard and it feels weird doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It's just going to take practice, because you're reprogramming yourself. We talked about reprogramming your subconscious mind and getting into receptive mode. Feminine energy is about receiving. You should be receiving as a feminine. You should not be constantly giving, okay? We talked about creativity, finding some type of creative hobby or creative outlet, or doing something that's fun to you that allows you to be creative. That's really important. We talked about dancing and moving your hips, taking dance classes, exercising, yoga, Pilates, anything that's beneficial to the body, or just literally just moving your hips will release stored trauma, and it will help you with your sacral chakra as well, if you have an imbalance there. I actually have a blog post about that. You can look in the description box below. We talked about that, and we talked about celibacy. Now, I feel like I missed some things, and I'm sure I probably did, but I don't want the video to be too long. But overall, I want to say to my feminines, the ball is back in our court, period. Feminine energy is starting to reclaim our power. You just need to get with the wave, okay? You need to get with the wave. We're moving into a different time. We're not chasing anything. We are only attracting things. We are in receptive mode. That's why you kind of see a lot of women talking about a soft life and princess treatment more than they ever have. There is a reason for that, y'all. Everything that's happening right now is for a reason. There's a reason, because it's something is unlocking inside of women where we're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm the prize, honey. I'm the prize. I've always been the prize. And if you don't agree with me, then go find someone who doesn't think they're the prize or whatever. Like, deuces, I really don't care. We don't care about that, because just like there are toxic masculines in this world, for those of us who date the masculines, there are also very healed masculines who are understanding that feminine energy is reclaiming their power, and they're all for it, and they're ready for it, and they're doing what they need to do for themselves instead of pointing the other finger at the other people, okay? The best thing that you can do as a feminine overall is to reclaim your power, is to focus on you. Don't point the finger. Do not watch these podcasts where they're sitting up here arguing with each other about what men and women should be doing. Don't watch those. Do not watch them. I already told y'all, the people who have those podcasts really need to find another job, because they're pointless. Those conversations are completely pointless, in my opinion. I feel like the best podcasts are the ones that are centered around just women having their transformation and just men having their transformation. I feel like the ones that are separate are better, because you're not pointing the finger at the other party. You're focusing on your own self-growth. You're focusing on you. And that's the best thing that you can do. And if the world would just focus on ourselves and healing and transforming and becoming whatever it is that we want to be, and going to therapy and healing our inner child, and trying to fix our toxic ways, we could come together. And until that happens, we're not. And the toxic feminines and the toxic masculines, they can go off, run into the sunset and have a blast, while the rest of us do what we do. And it doesn't matter if you're a feminine who dates feminines or a masculine who dates masculines, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter, because either way in that dynamic, one of y'all are going to be mostly feminine and one of y'all are going to be mostly masculine, whether it's male or female. So whoever you are in the situation, you need to be trying to focus on you right now and heal you. Put yourself first. Put yourself first. Put yourself first. Put yourself first. Don't take that in a bad way. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, the society is getting selfish and people are putting themselves first, and that's what's wrong with society. Use your common sense and use context clues and stop thinking with emotion. Obviously, that does not mean that you cannot love your neighbor or support your family or love your kids or love your spouse and support them. It just means you got to be number one. Everyone else has to be second. So for the people who get offended by people who say we're putting ourselves first, I really question you, because either you cannot put yourself first, or you are so used to other people putting themselves last for you, which is wrong. It just means you need to be number one in your life. Be your number one player. Everyone else has to come next to you. You have to pour into you first before you can pour into anybody else. I don't care. I will die on this hill. Go argue with your mama about it, okay? That's the best thing that you can do as a feminine, is pour into you, discover you, focus on you. Don't focus on these males. Don't focus on everything, your career. Don't make your career your entire life. Do everything you can to make sure your mental health is intact and you feel vibrant and happy and beautiful and successful in your own right. Figure out a way to do that. I'm sorry if I missed anything. If anybody has anything to add, leave it in the comments down below. I know this video was kind of long, but I felt like it was necessary. And if anybody wants me to do a part 2, let me know.